Hello ladies and gentlemen, Adrian here for Digital Dojos, and today we're going to be reviewing the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge. So that's right, today's review is going to focus primarily on the S7 Edge. This is the US model, 32 gigabytes. However, if you're looking into the S7, since Samsung did release their flagship line with the S7, the S7 Edge, I do want to say this before the review even commences. I personally recommend, in my experience, if you're going to upgrade to the S7 at all, if you're going to get the S7 as a new phone, go with the S7 Edge. Not only do you get that edge-to-edge screen feature, but you get a bigger screen. You also get a bigger battery life. So in my opinion, if you're considering the S7 at all, I'm going to go ahead and say go with the S7 Edge. Alright, that being said, let's jump right into the review. So Samsung's Galaxy S7 line is all about incremental improvements to its predecessor, the S6, offering improved hardware, slight design changes, and of course a water-resistant design. That said, I want to talk about my experience over the last couple weeks with the S7 Edge, keeping in mind I've been an iOS user since the iPhone 3G. So let's start off with all the new hardware in the S7 Edge. The S7 Edge introduces some slight changes to the body of the phone coming from the S6, the new slightly curved back, pull its edges to make it less sharper on the sides and allow for better handling. You get a solid feel and still at a phone that's considered at a decent size. However, it's still a fingerprint magnet when it comes to the back, so be ready to have some sort of cloth cleaning solution or even a skin ready. You have all of your common ports with the solid volume rockers on the side and the power button, as well as a fingerprint sensored home button and your two touch capacitive buttons as well. Also, as noted, the S7 Edge is IP68 certified, which means it's water and dust resistant, or simply put, waterproof to a degree. And while this is all nice and makes for a really great party trick, I'm still subconsciously programmed to keep my electronics away from water. It's a nice convenient feature to have if you're walking in the rain or accidentally drop in the toilet, but it does come at a cost. A big example of this is the built-in speaker, which has to be the worst part of the phone. It sounds tinny and distorted, especially at higher volumes if you're listening to music or what have you. So this is the cost of really sealing off all of those ports in the phone. Now, the S7 Edge sports a 5.5 Super AMOLED display covered in Gorilla Glass 4 for protection, and if there's one thing Samsung always does right, it's their displays. No surprise here, the S7 Edge offers an amazing display that covers the phone, no pun intended, edge to edge. The colors are bright, accurate, and they pop the way that most Samsung displays really do. Great for reading, viewing pictures, or what have you, and decent in lighting conditions, whether you're outside or not. However, you do need to toggle that screen a bit. A new feature to the S7 Edge is the always-on display, which essentially puts an element on your screen that's always on whether your phone is asleep. This can be a clock, calendar, or even an image if you're into that. The idea is to provide something convenient at a glance always, again, without having to power on the phone and taking up minimal battery life. It achieves this by powering limited pixels and moving the element around to prevent image burn. However, in all honesty, this is something I simply turned off. CPU-wise, in the US at least, the phone is powered by a Snapdragon 820 quad-core 2.15 GHz processor, and it performs exceptionally. Benchmark-wise, as far as Geekbench goes, it scored a 2,247 single-core score and 5,319 on the multi-core score, making it one of the fastest phones out there. For comparison, the 6S Plus scored slightly higher in the single-core score, but just barely, and it was blown out in the multi-core score consistently. GPU-wise, we have an Adreno 530 chip powering the graphic performance, but how do all of these numbers translate into real-life usage? Well, the phone performed incredibly in all of my tests. Granted, there's occasional hangs and app crashes, but that was more due to third-party apps, if anything. The phone handled phenomenally as far as, everything else I threw at it, multitasking like a champ. The same could be said for gaming performance, which ran everything smoothly, and thanks to the better cooling tech integrated in the S7 Edge, it ran at a decent temperature the whole time. Now, moving on to battery, because all the performance in the world doesn't matter if the phone itself doesn't last, and the S7 Edge has a whopping 3600 milliamp battery to make this powerhouse last. Lasting me well beyond the day-to-day usage, no matter if that was light or heavy. Using it in low power mode even extended that life further, and I found myself not really having to plug it in on a daily, basis. And if I did, the fast charging technology allowed me to charge it up to 60% in under half an hour. So if you're looking for a powerful device with a battery to match, then you cannot go wrong here. Next up is the all-new and improved camera, something we care highly about nowadays in our smartphones. And while on paper the camera was downgraded from 16 megapixels to 12, the pixels are bigger. What this means is it's better low light performance, and the focusing pixels are greatly improved. It features a f1.7 aperture, and you can get amazing photos and videos out of this phone. The autofocus is truly, and I can't understate this enough, amazing on this phone, and it's not held back by things like its front-facing camera, which are equally amazing. You get a wider view of field with the front-facing camera, which makes it great for those selfies or vlogs. The video is just exceptional on this. You can shoot in true 4K, which looks really, really great. And this is simply put the best smartphone camera as of now. So if the camera is the biggest factor for you in your next purchase, then you cannot go wrong with this S7 Edge. The low lights are amazing in indoor settings, however, can be a bit grainy in outdoor shots. And the internal camera as well doesn't handle low light that great either, but despite all that, you get high quality shots in normal or well lit conditions and truly incredible looking video. Now, as far as the rest of the hardware goes, you have your mini USB charger port, which can be a bit of a bummer considered, the move towards USB-C. However, this isn't something that really breaks the deal with the phone. Expandable storage has been added to the phone, so while the US is only limited to the 32GB model as of current, you can easily pop in a 200GB SD card in there and well be on your way to storing whatever it is that you want on your S7 Edge. The fingerprint scanner performs exceptionally and has been greatly improved in terms of speed over the S6, and while in tests it performs faster than things like the Touch ID on the iPhone just due to animation lag on iOS, I found that it had certain inaccurate readings now and again, and given the shape of the home button, which I feel kind of, messed up my alignment with my finger at times, I had to constantly be forced to kind of realign my finger. However, that can probably be corrected in better aligning my finger originally when it orients the first fingerprint. Being the Edge display, you do get the cool edge-to-edge features with the phone, which create that immersive experience and add those great little tasks and shortcuts to your phone. But in all honesty, while I played around with these a bit, I didn't find myself constantly using them. However, I'd rather have the Edge model, which comes with a better battery and display, than not have it in the S7 version. You can see things like which contacts are calling at a glance, make quick shortcuts, and more with the Edge Task and Edge Panel features. But they're great, but it's just not something I use that often. Now, typically, a phone's hardware is only as good as its software experience, and while I don't hate Android 6.0 Marshmallow, it performed amazingly. I did have my gripes with TouchWiz UI, which is Samsung's skin that they throw on it. Now, the great thing with Android, however, is your ability to customize, root, and personalize the phone to your liking. Getting rid of bloatware, unwanted launchers, and skins to customize your experience is what makes Android so great. So while Android took some getting used to coming from an iOS perspective, I did like the change of pace with the software overall. Overall, the S7 Edge performed as you'd expect a 2016 flagship phone to do so. Amazingly well in many aspects. While it lacks certain features like an IR blaster or USB-C or insert, wanted feature here, the phone is exceptional in all of its main aspects. The camera is simply one of the best out there. Hardware performs efficiently, and it's packaged in this great and improved design. So far as S6 users goes, is it worth the upgrade? As always, if your contract is nearly up and you're looking for such improvements, then yes. If you want a better camera, then I say go with the Edge over the S7 for better battery life, if anything, and camera, of course. However, while it's a great phone, so is the S6, so do keep that in mind. If you're in the market for a new phone, then there's no question about it. This is an amazing piece of hardware, and it'll definitely last you. If you're in the iOS camp, that's a bigger and more in-depth question, given the iPhone 7's, release later this year. However, coming from an iOS user's perspective and something that I use on a day-to-day basis, I do enjoy the freedom and flexibility that Android offers, and coupled with the great hardware in the S7 Edge, I'm enjoying this phone more and more each day. So 2 thumbs up for the S7 Edge over here at Digital Dojos. I hope you enjoyed the review of the S7 Edge. As always, your opinions and thoughts are welcomed in the comments below. If this video helped you out in any way, help us out by sharing it, liking it, and of course subscribing if you aren't already. Head over to digitaldojos.com for more in-depth content, and as always, thanks for watching.